Guys, and welcome to this new live stream with Marilyn. I'm seeing how to launch it here. Why am I not seeing this live? Give me 1 minute, guys. Hmm, I want to understand why I'm not seeing it in my platform here. Okay. So today, I'm going to talk about identity reinvention. And as you know, we have announced to you yesterday. For those who were not there yesterday, well, yeah, but it's okay. You are forgiven. And today, we're gonna talk about. Today, we're gonna talk about a very important point. We think, yeah. Today's Sunday. How's going your Sunday, guys? How's going your Sunday? Nothing in my cup. Sorry, guys. Nothing in my cup to drink. I have to drink something. As you can hear my voice, but everything is okay. So, so, um, to as you have announced to you yesterday, we have a great news for you. For those who are not yet aware, but let us go directly and dive in directly to what interests us today. And one of the topic that we want to address, talking about identity reinvention. What is identity reinvention? And we said it yesterday. Identity reinvention is not the product of chance. It's not the product of. It's not the product of chance. It's not the product of hazard, but it's very calculated, as it should be. It's very calculated. So we okay, where did I see it? Okay. So today we want to talk about an aspect when we talk about identity reinvention that we think maybe we have missed what it was all about, and it's fear. We want to talk about fear today. Why fear? Because fear is very much a topic that we are not trained to face our fear. Maybe now things will be changing, with this new generation that you and I are, where we are not trained to face our fear. At the contrary, we were trained to avoid them, to ignore them, to do as if they do not exist, and to try to fix everything else around except address the fear. And so today we want to destructure what is really fear all about and ask ourselves the question, is it possible that we've misunderstood what fear was actually all about? Is it possible? What if you and I, we missed the true purpose and the true benefit that fear has brought or given us the opportunity to bring in our lives? First and foremost, we have to understand what is fear. What triggers fear or encourages fear, and understand that. And that's my first point. Fear as the loving expression of our three brains. Fear, a loving expression, yes. Fear, a loving expression. Let me explain to you how. First and foremost, we have three brains. Most people now know more about the reptilian brain, also called the survival brain or surviving brain, thanks to in the increase of mental awareness. But there are two other brains with that reptilian brain. So the reptilian brain basically is the one that keeps us alive, like those instincts that we have, that before we think we act to preserve our life, to keep our lives. That's the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is in charge of making sure that um, everything that are the basic needs of the human being: the shelter, the clothing, the sense, the shelter, the clothing, the food, the drink, like the basic human need. What should I do to cover that? And anything that is needed, quote unquote, for me to fulfill those basic needs, I will do. That's the survival brain. That's the reptilian brain. And then we have the elephant brain. Who is the elephant brain? The elephant brain is the brain that stores the stories of our lives. It may be even the stories of our lineage that have been passed down to us and the experiences that we went through. So why is it important for the elephant brain to store those experiences, those stories? Simply because when we will face a situation, the elephant brain goes into his storeroom and check, do I have an experience close to this one that she or he that she's going through, or in her lineage, do I have an experience or a situation that looks alike or similar or close to what she's going through? Why is it that important to the elephant brain? So that he can project. He can project. He can project the presupposed conclusion of that experience. He can project that, okay, I have such an experience, store up in my memory such an experience, and now I can predict that this experience is going to finish wrongly, or it's going to finish wrong or good, or in the middle, or in between, or unsatisfying, or whatever the case is, because he already has like a referential of that. That's the elephant brain. So he stores up our stories, our experiences, and each time we are faced with with a new situation, he goes back into that storeroom to check anything that is similar or close, the most close to that situation, and he projects that, okay, that means it's gonna end up wrongly, or it's gonna end up beautifully for me, or it's gonna end up like averagely for me. And because of that projection in conclusion, it already sets us, especially when we are not yet aware of those different mechanisms, it already sets up to react or to act a certain way in that situation. You know, when somebody does something to you and you assume that this is what the person is meaning by saying this thing, it's not actually the thing that the person is saying, but it's that your elephant brain has gone back into memory and has remembered itself that there was a time when so, 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 and this is what the people used to tell you, or this is what the person told you, and at that time this is what it meant. So probably as this person today, face to face with you 20 years later, 30 years later, 10 years later, is speaking those same words, is probably the same thing that that person long time behind said, and therefore it's probably the same conclusion. So therefore, if at that time, maybe because of the youth, maybe because of this, you did not react in the proper way, this time you have to be on your guard. Do you see how it is very... So somebody may say something today, but the reaction that you are having, or the response that you are having towards what the person is saying, or is not about the person. It's about the fact that your elephant brain was able to retrace something almost similar, and therefore he's projecting the conclusion that certainly this is what the person means, and that projection and conclusion is already setting you in a certain way of responding to that person, when the person may have said what he said or she said very innocently, but you are rather replaying a movie that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or even more. That's what the elephant brain does. And then we have the monkey brain. And the monkey brain analyze, rationalize, logic. Explain to me. I have to understand. I have to know where we are entering, where we are going. I have to understand everything. If I don't understand everything, there is a problem, it's a 12. That's what the monkey brain does. Or when we talk about identity, when we talk about identity, yes, I'm chilling a little bit Sunday. So when we talk about identity reinvention, we are actually talking about going into space where we've never been before, you and I. We are talking about going into territories, getting ourselves into rooms, meeting people that we've never met before, that we've never placed ourselves in those areas before. So it's threatening to our brains because there is no referential, whether it's to our reptilian brain, elephant brain, and even monkey brain. They don't have any referential of us ever that they can stand on to kind of project of what may happen, and so it is a threat because they cannot project what may happen. To them it is a threat, so they have to prevent us from getting into that trap. They have to prevent us from getting ourselves in danger because we are getting into a space where they can't, none of those brains can project and kind of calculate and analyze and presuppose what will be the conclusion of it. So now, to protect us, those brains will ring the alarm, the emergency alarm, to say, oh, there is threat. There is threat in the house. I don't know how this situation is going to end up. She has never had such a case of stories before in her lineage or in her personal experience, so I cannot predict the way it will finish. The survivor brain says she has never been in this like kind of peace before. She has never. I don't know how it's going to end up. The monkey brain says I don't have all the elements. I have some, but I don't have all, so I cannot say how it's going to end up. And so three of them ring the alarm: emergency. There's fire in the house. There's fire in the house. And the way we respond to that fire, our bodies respond to that fire in the house, is our heartbeat race faster, our guts gets tighter. Sometimes even we start procrastinating, we start self-sabotaging. Sometimes we even fall sick. All that is because we are putting steps into, and we are taking steps and getting into rooms where we have never been before. All that is because it's to avoid the unknown. All that is happening with our brains, and the sensation of procrastination, self-sabotaging, feeling sick for no reason, no particular reason. You just start feel sick, and you have already planned to do this, that, and the third, and you can't because you feel sick. What you have to understand is that feeling sick is one of your brains, or your brains wanting to keep you safe, wanting to keep you protected. And the best way they know to keep you safe and protected is to keep you in your comfort zone. But now, growth and comfort zone doesn't go together. Per essence, growth means bypassing, surpassing your comfort zone. But yet our brains are trained to keep us in our comfort zone, because comfort zone to our brains means safety, security, protection, which is the very essence that every day they work to keep us safe, protected, and all of the sorts. So you see how the body will now start, especially the brain here, the brains will start, putting kind even of stumbling blocks, because they want to protect us from an imaginary threat. The threat here being stepping into the unknown, going where we have never gone before. Going where we have never gone before. So that's the thing. So we have to understand that fear sometimes comes from our brains. And it's an imaginary fear. But because they are our brains, they will activate the emergency alarm, and our body will react a certain way. And because we have been trained over time to learn that when our heart is racing faster, when our gut is getting tighter, we conclude it as being fear. But now, and this is the second point, what if those symptoms, those similar symptoms, because they very look alike as fear, our heart is racing bigger, sometimes we are even sweating, our gut gets tighter, are actually expression of a deep excitement faced with the unknown, faced to us having decided and been decisive into taking steps and putting ourselves out there to go into rooms where we've never been before, to do things that we have never done before, and to do it with consistency. What if that the the heart race faster, the sweating, the sweating and the tightening of the gut is actually a a a response, is actually a symptom of excitement rather than fear. And so when we start saying it that way, what if when I feel that way is either my body telling me that he's excited about this new chapter and this new episode and this new adventure that I'm getting into. And rather than to see it as a proof that I should hold back and it should prove that I should shrink and as a proof that I should stop what I'm doing, is actually a go on, sister. That's it. Move on. Continue. And that understanding of fear that way will cause us that even when we feel quote unquote fear, we still do what we have to do. Because we've understood that fear, we have labeled it, that emotion, those mixed emotion coming up as fear, because it has been passed down that way with that understanding to us. But what if it was actually a deep sense of excitement? What if it was actually a deep sense of excitement? And because we know it, we are no more attempting to quench the fear. We are no more attempting to fight with the fear. We are no more attempting to draw back from the fear. We allow the fear to be there, and yet we still do what we have to do. Fear is no more a reason not to do. Rather, in the midst of it, okay, you are there, fear, you are there, okay, no problem. I've decided I'm going live, I'm still going live. And you just do the thing. I've decided I'm going to meet so and so, I'm still going to go meet so and so. And you just do the thing. You are not fighting with fear. You are not trying to cast down fear. You are not attempting to shrink. No, you just allow fear to be. Okay, you are there. Ah, you are there. Okay, no problem. I'll still do what I have to do. Yeah. And you see that when we start having that perception about fear, it's just so amazing. I'm telling you, it's just so amazing when we understand all those tricks that our brain plays with us to save us, to keep us safe, actually. But as we continue to take those consistent steps of boldness, those continuous steps of courage, that which in the beginning was perceived by our brains as the unknown and therefore the threat, our brain will rise up in the understanding, consciousness, and we realize that, oh, it's not an unknown, it's actually my new normal. Can you see? Can you see that? It's actually my new normal, it's not a threat. So guys, that's what we had for you this beautiful Sunday, wherever you are in the world. Let us change our perception of fear and let us do what we have to do, even in the midst of fear, because it is very much possible. Because half of the time that we thought that we were afraid, what was actually happening, it was a deep sense of excitement and eagerness into when thinking about getting into these new territories and these new rooms and the new sphere and doing those things that we have never done before. But we, because we did not know better, we analyzed them and we understood them as being fear, and therefore because it is fear, we felt the obligation to hold back, to shrink back, to stop what we were doing, when actually fear, quote unquote, that symptom of fear was there to tell us you're on the right path, you're on the right path, sorry, keep moving on, keep moving on, keep moving on. So I want to tell you that very thing that you've decided to do. And if you are watching me, that means identity reinvention is something that resonates with you. And the steps that you've break it down and you decided, okay, these are the steps that I'm going to take. And for some reason, as you are going along the way of taking those steps, you are feeling stuck, you are feeling afraid. You feel like fear is now knocking on the door of your heart. Do it anyway. In fact, let fear be the reason, let fear be to you the proof that this is what you should do. The fact you are afraid or that fear start knocking your door, don't don't attempt to like to cast out fear. Don't attempt to release the fear. No, just let the fear be where it is, but use that fear as a evidence that actually this thing that you're afraid to do is the thing that you should do right now. And I also have a great news for you guys. Of course, our first course. Yes. Our first course is ready. He has been, it's online since yesterday. Yeah, guy. And it's entitled The Reinvented Woman Blueprint. I'm posting right away. Right away in the chat. Right away, I'm posting in the chat. For those of you who want more, when we come to this journey of, of identity reinvention, you want more, because here we share a lot of things and there's a lot of things that you can actually gain and you can actually take advantage of. But for those of you who want to go deeper into the journey, this course, the Reinvented Woman Blueprint, is going to help you. And so you have all the details there of 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 how to get it on the platform. So one of the other thing that I wanted to say, for who is this course? Somebody may ask, but this Reinvented Woman Blueprint, who is the woman that should actually have that course? Well, the woman that has understood that growth, expansion, and enlargement is part of the journey, and that has agreed to become intentional about it and not leave it to chance. The woman who has agreed to okay guys, so you have the link in the description box and you have the link in the chat for you to get it. Go there and check the course and enjoy yourself, and let's be all together on this journey of reinvented woman to be the best version of ourselves for the betterment of our communities, our families, and humanity. I'll see you again tomorrow for another live stream. Bye bye, guys.